Hello, welcome. So nice to see you guys. My name is Jessica, and I'm going to share a little bit about myself before we dive right into this 3 days of amazingness. We're going to learn all about kick-ass confidence and why it's so important to have kick-ass confidence if we want to manifest everything that we desire. I'm going to tell you my story and it's all going to make sense, and you're going to be able to see how I was able to manifest everything that I've dreamed of, basically because I started to study myself and I really got to know the part of me that didn't feel worthy. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. If you want to drop some hellos in the chat, tell me where you're from. My name is Jessica and I'm from Canada, but I am living in Costa Rica. So I'm going to tell you my story. I always dreamed about living somewhere warm. I never felt like the snow and the cold was meant for me. So we are just letting some more people in. Hi, welcome. So I lived in Ontario. I grew up in Ontario, and some of you here are from Ontario, so you know that the winters can be really brutal. So, you know, we went through the highs and the lows. The summertime was like amazing. I felt at my best in the summertime. So I had this dream. I thought, what if one day I could live somewhere warm? What if that's Florida? And maybe it's Costa Rica. I had no idea where I was going to live or what that was going to look like, but I had a dream. And this is one of the key things in manifestation, is just allowing yourself to dream. So I started to get a little bit older, went to school, you know, I was experimenting, exploring what I wanted to do with my life. And I'm really close with my family. So I always felt like I needed to be close to them. But 7 years ago, I decided I was going to move to Costa Rica and go to school. So I moved to Costa Rica, took a course, the TEFL course, so I could learn how to teach English as a foreign language to people here. And 2 months later, I decided I wanted to go back home. I missed home. So I went home. And over those 7 years, I really started to study myself. I started to study the law of attraction, manifestation. I was dreaming, but I really didn't know how to bring my dreams into reality. I felt like a failure when I would try something and it didn't work out. I felt like a failure. And last year, I finally decided to invest in myself, and I took a course that helped me to study myself. This is when it all clicked. I learned, can you guess? Can anybody guess? What did I learn about myself? I did not feel worthy. I had zero confidence. So I am here to tell you that that realization was the beginning of my massive transformation. So if any of this is resonating with you, please drop a yes in the comments. It is so, so important that you begin to become really honest with yourself. And it really sucked in the moment because I thought, oh my goodness, how can I not love myself? That's so embarrassing. How can I not feel confident? And I started to really recognize that I always had thoughts that said, I'll love myself when. Who can resonate with that? I'll love myself when my hair is longer. I'll love myself when I get the degree. I'll love myself when I move. I'll love myself when I'm fitter. I'll love myself when I'm in a relationship or have a beautiful friend group or I have a beautiful house, whatever. I had all those thoughts, all of those thoughts. So I started to get really, really curious about what my thoughts were. And I hired a mentor and they helped me to really see that I had thoughts that said, I'm not enough. How are you going to do it? Who are you to do this? And I realized that those were the things that were blocking me. So that's why today I wanted to bring you kick-ass confidence, because this is my passion. I want to teach people how to have confidence in themselves, because it was the one thing that really got in my way. So when I started to look in the mirror and tell myself, I love you, Jessica, guess what happened? Tears started coming down my face. Tears started flowing out of my eyes, because I had been neglecting the love that I deserved just from myself. And when I started to do that, it all started to make sense. Okay, if I don't feel worthy, if I don't feel lovable, good enough, how can I manifest all of these beautiful things that I want if I don't even feel good enough to receive them? So I did the work, and I'm going to teach you how to do the work. And I set a goal to move to Costa Rica to start my own business. And I completely surrendered. And let me just make sure everybody's muted. Sorry. I completely surrendered and I allowed all of the beautiful things into my life. And I'm going to tell you all about that. But first, thank you so much for joining me. I know there's a few people hopping on now. Please tell me where you're coming from. And let me know, are you someone who could use a little boost in your confidence? Yes, yes, yes. We have some people this is resonating with. I'm so happy. Yay, Ontario. Oh, whoops. Okay, so I just shared a little bit about my story, about how I realized that I didn't feel good enough. So now you're probably asking, well, what the heck? Now we know we don't feel good enough. So what do we do? Okay, so I want you to tell me something that makes you feel really good in the chat. Tell me something that lights your soul on fire. What is it? What are the things that you love? Writing. Love that. Painting, singing, playing, nature. This is so awesome. Yoga. Okay, so this is wonderful. So this is how I started. So I told you I felt so connected to traveling and warm weather. And sorry. I feel like can you guys still see me on the screen? Oh, there we go. Okay, awesome. So I started to study myself and I started to realize that I love warm weather, traveling, photography, swimming, going to the beach, all of these wonderful things. So what I started to do was I started to do those things and I started to feel the emotions and feel the feelings of doing the things that I told myself I was going to do. So whenever I said, okay, I'm gonna buy myself flowers, I made sure that I bought myself those flowers. I started to keep those little promises to myself. And I did a lot of mirror work. So I would look in the mirror and I would say, Jessica, you're incredible. And in the beginning, it felt really hard to receive that. And when other people would tell me, you're so talented, you're so lovely, you're so beautiful, you're so this, I used to refuse all of those compliments. I used to say, no, 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 you're this, you're that. Can anyone relate to that? I had such a hard time accepting that I was worthy and that I was lovable. So now, and over the course of the last year or so, I really started to become aware of that. And I really started to accept and receive. And so first I started with myself. So I would show myself love and I would show myself compassion and I would be gentle and kind with myself. So I'm going to give you an example of what my brain used to look like over a year ago, maybe 5, 6 years ago, I would apply for a job and I wouldn't get the job. And I would beat myself up. I would say, well, I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not this. I'm not that. I should have studied more. And I would literally think these thoughts over and over and over again and beat myself up. I recognized that I was doing that and it wasn't serving me because I've been studying the law of attraction and manifestation for almost 10 years now because I've been fascinated with the whole concept. So the law of attraction is like attracts like. So this is literally about us becoming a magnet for what we desire. So I really got honest with myself and I realized, oh my goodness, every time I went into a job interview, I didn't feel good enough. And that energy was the energy I brought into that interview. And so then I wouldn't get the job, or I would go on a date and I wouldn't hear a call back from someone, or I would go out with friends and I wouldn't connect with them again, whatever it was. And I realized that I was responsible for what I experienced in the outside world. It all comes from me. And I remember being in a relationship and it not working out, and someone saying to me, this didn't happen to you, this happened for you. And it was like something clicked, because that was the moment where I really started to dive deep into everything that I wanted and being really aware of my own energy. So, do you guys know when you go to a party or you walk into a store and the person doesn't even have to speak and you can feel the energy, right? So this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how we get to be in charge. We have the power to control our energy and only our energy. So when I had the dream to move to Costa Rica, I had to, let me just see. Okay. Just want to make sure nobody wanted to get in here. I had to see what was holding me back. So I went into my mind and I realized that I had thoughts that I did not feel good enough. So I started affirming, I am willing to love myself. And I started to get curious about dreaming big. And I started to say, instead of saying, oh my goodness, I want to move here or I want to do this, I just started saying, what if I could move to Costa Rica? What if I could be an entrepreneur? What if I could have a multi-million-dollar business? What if I could drive a Jeep? What if I could fall in love? What if I could travel the world? And the energy completely shifted in me. So now I live my life always in that curiosity. I never allow those thoughts. I try not to allow those thoughts of it's not possible, I'm not good enough, or what if it doesn't work out? So if I want to do something, I don't even question. I don't even let the thought pass me by that what if it doesn't work out, because now I know that everything is working out for me. And even when something doesn't work out, it is getting me closer to where I want to go. So I want to know from all of you, the things that you said you loved, how often do you do those things? Being outside, exercising, writing, playing, yoga, all of those things. How often do you do them? Every day. Okay, amazing. And how do you feel when you do them? All the time. Great. Okay, so this is amazing. So I was someone who was, I had all of these joys and all of these passions, but I was not doing them. And what I realized was I was holding myself apart from the joy that I wanted to feel. So now I intentionally set up my day, set up my life to do the things that I love. I have so much passion in me and fire in me that every day I do the things that make me feel good. And you just become a magnet when you do the things that feel in alignment with you. So just because somebody else loves writing or just because somebody else loves yoga doesn't necessarily mean that those are the things that are going to bring you joy. This is why it's so important that we have to get to know ourselves. So if you're someone right now that's not sure what you love, I want you to think back to when you were a child. What were the things you loved to do when you were a little kid? Tell me in the comments. Sing. Yes. So whatever it is that you like to do when you were a child, these are the things that I would encourage you to get curious about. So we are all here because we have a desire to increase our confidence so that we can manifest everything that we desire. And even if you feel like you have incredible confidence, the point of life is always to be growing and evolving. There are multiple versions of you out there. And every day and every week and every month, you can step into a higher version of yourself. So this is why it's so important that if we want to be someone else, if we want to step into that higher version of ourselves, we have to be aware of who we are now. So studying yourself. So every day, every week, whatever feels good for you, sitting down with a pen and paper and writing down the thoughts. I want to know, what are some of the thoughts that you think you might have that might be getting in your way? What are some of those thoughts that might be getting in your way? I'll share some of mine. I used to do the things all day, every day to make everyone else's dreams come true and thought that was what I loved. My perspective has shifted and is continuing to shift. This is so awesome. Yes, we often think that, you know, pouring into other people is going to bring ourselves joy, and it does, but we cannot pour from an empty cup. So we have to nurture and honor ourselves as well. So let's read this. Fear of failure, unworthiness, fear of failure, guilt. Okay, this is really great. So once we become aware of the things that are getting in our way, then we want to start to reprogram them. So I've studied a lot with Dr. Joe Dispenza, and if you know me, you probably heard me talk about him, but he says that in order to create a new you, a new version of you, you cannot show up as a past version of you. You cannot live your life day to day by past memories of yourself. So in order to do that, we need to reprogram with the new. So I always talk about stepping into that person that you want to become. So when I wanted to move to Costa Rica and I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I started saying, I love living in Costa Rica. I'm so happy I work for myself. And let me tell you, the first time I did that, did it feel weird? Sure it did. But it's like you are a computer and you're reprogramming that computer. And so if the old program says, I'm not really happy with my life, I live in Ontario, I don't like the cold, I'm not happy here, whatever. If you keep repeating that over and over and over again, if that's the thought that goes on in your mind and the energy you're putting out into the world, guess what? You continue to prescribe that for the future, because the law of attraction states that how we think and feel is what we make manifest. So if we think that, you know, we're going to live in this crappy weather and we don't really love our job and we feel kind of crummy, then we continue to create from that state of being. So we continue to create crummy experiences. And I know this from my own experience. I sat in my misery for far too long. I'm happy it all happened because it led me here, but I used to think this can't be the only way, but I had no idea how to get out. And what I didn't realize was that I was prescribing my future. So instead of repeating what is, or the truth, as some people like to say it, you're going to start to create a new state of being by reprogramming new thoughts and feelings. So, what are your goals and dreams? Let's pop some into the chat. I want to talk about your specific goals. So mine was Costa Rica, mine was to travel, and mine was to become an entrepreneur. And so I started saying those things. I'm an entrepreneur. I love exactly where I'm at. Okay, living in the woods. This is such a great one. So if you want to buy a new house, you want to build a house, you want to be connected to nature, you want to live near the trees, then what you want to do is you want to start visualizing and connecting with what it would feel like to live in the woods. Start to have thoughts of, it is so amazing to connect with nature as soon as I wake up. I can hike, I can hear the birds, I see the deer and the bunnies and the whatever, and just play with it. Because what Dr. Joe Dispenza says is that when we start to connect new thought patterns over and over and over again, they become so strong that the old thoughts fall away. So are you someone, this was me for like 10 years. I used to try something for a week, a month, 6 months, and I wouldn't see results. And I would think, this doesn't work. Anybody else? Can anybody else relate to that? I would just, it happened with my skincare. I would try a skincare product. It wouldn't work for a month. So I'd be like, on to the next. This was the same with my mind. I would start implanting, my income is constantly increasing. My income is constantly increasing. I'm so happy that money just flows to me. Money just flows to me. A week would go by, no money would come. So I would completely just stop it, give up. And I realized that I was not fusing those connections together long enough. So when I started studying myself every single day, that's when I started to see massive transformation that has lasted a long, long time. Because years ago, my sister's on here, she'll be able to have a laugh with me. I used to write Post-it notes, and I would write Post-it notes that would say, my income is constantly increasing. I'm so happy to drive this car. And I would put the exact car and I'd say, oh, this car is so fast. And I remember her and a friend of mine went to my place and they were having a good chuckle about all my Post-it notes. But I had a visualization that I was going to drive a little white Hyundai Veloster. I wanted this cute little sporty car. And I wrote the Post-it notes and I visualized myself driving the car. And guess what? That is the exact car that I got. And I know that energetically, we have to act as if before things come into the physical world. So I wrote down a quote here so that I don't say it wrong, but I love how Albert Einstein says, your imagination is your preview of life's coming attractions. So this is exactly what I have studied and what I have learned. So your imagination is your preview of life's coming attractions. And what I realized beyond that was I would imagine something for myself and it would be coming into the physical. And I didn't feel good enough or worthy enough to accept it, and I would shoo it away. This specifically happened to me in relationships. I had a desire for a relationship, and then the universe would send me someone lovely and I would push it away. And my knowing this has really helped me to fully step into that energy of feeling worthy and feeling confident and letting everything I desire in. So now when someone offers me a compliment, I receive it. I accept it so gratefully. When someone offers to pay for lunch, when beautiful people enter into my life, I always say, I am open to receiving. I am ready to receive. thank you, and I show my appreciation, and I have so much satisfaction for all of these beautiful things coming into my experience. So what I learned was that if I wanted different results, I had to do things differently. So I got curious about what I wanted. So I want you guys to do that right now. I want you to tell me in the chat, what are the things that you desire right now? So for me, it was more freedom, the opportunity to travel. What are some of the things that you really, really desire? Think on a deeper level, not just about that job, but what is that job going to bring to you? What is that relationship going to bring to you? Retire and travel. Yes. And why do you want to retire and travel? How is that going to make you feel? Financial freedom, meaningful relationships, free, happy, connected. Yes. So when you live in the woods, you feel free, you feel energized, you feel connected, grounded, whatever the words are. So now I want you to tell me in the chat, how can you feel those feelings now? How can you feel free, happy, connected, grounded, healthy, wealthy? Go to the woods now. Look at houses that I love now. Yes, exactly. Be in nature. So exactly. So what I started with was I would journal and I would do mirror work. And so I would really, really focus on loving myself exactly where I am while I was dreaming of the future. And that, excuse me, and then every time I went out, let's say, I'll tell you the story about my wanting a Jeep. So I wanted to buy a Jeep and I had no idea how I was going to get this Jeep or where I was going to get this Jeep or where I was going to get the money to get this Jeep. And I was told by many people, go and test drive the Jeep. Well, I didn't want to do that. I didn't jump in the car and go test drive the Jeep. And so I really started to ask myself, what is that all about? You know what it was about? It was because I didn't feel worthy to have the Jeep. And then because I didn't have the money in my hand to go show up and buy the Jeep, I felt embarrassed. And I really explored why. Because why would that matter? And also, there's lots of people in this world that are in the same situation as me. So I really started to dig deep into the why. Why didn't I feel worthy? Why didn't I want to do this? And then I pushed myself and I said, Jessica, you're going to go test drive that Jeep and you're going to get a Jeep and you're going to love that Jeep. And that Jeep is going to be so fun and you're going to feel so free and you're going to feel so happy. So feel those things now. So it felt very uncomfortable for me, but I went and I test drove the Jeep. And guess what? I got in the Jeep and I felt all of those things. I felt free. I felt happy. I felt excited. And so I realized this is exactly what I need to feel right now. So I focused on all the things that made me feel free and happy. And you know what those were? Driving to the beach, listening to music, dancing in front of a mirror, loving on my body, complimenting myself. And I just did it over and over and over again. And so that I didn't give up after a week or a month, I put up the Post-it notes and I put a reminder in my phone. So to this day, I still have a reminder in my phone that says, I am willing to love my body. Because I was someone who didn't love her body, and there was no particular reason why. It was just a matter of, comparing myself to other people, just not feeling good. And it had nothing to do with the way I looked, nothing, because let me tell you, I have had every different color hair. My body has been multiple different sizes and shapes, and I still had the same feeling. So I realized it was nothing to do with my outer shell and everything to do with just the way I felt, the thoughts I was having and the feelings I was having. So in order to love myself more, I had to become aware of the thoughts. So the thoughts used to say, oh, that doesn't look good. And still the thoughts creep in once in a while, but I will correct them and I will say, wait a second, you look fabulous. And also, I remind myself that look at how different we all are and how incredible we all are. And we are all connected energetically, and we are all parts of this universe, and how amazing that is. We are more energy than we are matter. And when I started to realize that we should be connecting more to that energy than to the matter, that's when things started to shift for me. I started to really tune into the energy around me and the energy I was putting out. So now, if I'm not feeling good, if I'm having thoughts that say you're not good enough, I will just go to a place. I love to use sage and sweetgrass and essential oils. And just that time by myself, I can sage myself and those old, low vibing thoughts. I will cleanse my space, and then I will do a little ritual where I will start to speak to myself with kindness, love, and compassion. And my whole energy shifts. So when we become aware of the way we're speaking to ourselves, we have to make the decision that we're going to make a change, because your old program is so strong. So if you have thoughts of not feeling good enough for so long, it takes a while to reprogram them. So we have to be conscious to the thoughts that are happening unconsciously. And this is where the shift happened for me. I started paying attention to my thoughts, and I don't even want to tell you what they were, because they were ugly thoughts and they were happening without me even realizing. So when I would do the dishes or I would have a shower, I just kept the music off and I started to pay attention to my thoughts. And I was thinking sometimes thoughts of something that happened like months ago, something way in the past, something that wasn't serving me. So I started to become really aware of my thoughts. And then I started to say, no. We're not going to have that. Let's focus on this moment, and let's focus on implanting and putting in new thoughts. And so I just wanted to show you the power of our thoughts and our feelings. Have you guys ever heard of the rice experiment by Dr. Let me just pull up the experiment here. Dr. Emoto. So I'm going to share my screen for a second just so you guys can see how powerful our thoughts and our words are. Can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Dr. Emoto has conducted another interesting experiment. He placed rice into 3 glass beakers and covered it with water. And then every day for a month, he said, "Thank you" to one beaker, "You're an idiot" to the second, and the third one he completely ignored. After 1 month, The rice that had been thanked began to ferment, giving off a strong, pleasant aroma. The rice in the second beaker turned black, and the rice that was ignored began to rot. Dr. Emoto thinks that this experiment provides an important lesson, especially with regard to how we treat children. We should take care of them, give them attention, and converse with them. Indifference does the greatest harm.
Have you guys seen that experiment before? Let me see if I can get you guys back over here. Sorry, has anyone seen that before? Nod your heads now, I can see your faces. No, you haven't. Okay, so this is a powerful example of how important it is to speak kindly to ourselves. So everything is energy. Like I said to you before, when you walk into a room, you can tell when someone is feeling good or when someone may have just had a heated conversation. So without even speaking, we can feel the energy. And it's the same with everything. So our clothes, the food we eat, our children, our friends, everything. But most importantly, we have to remember ourselves. I have heard for years that it's selfish to think of yourself first, and it's selfish to do this and do that, and it's selfish to do this. But I am telling you today that I want you to be selfish. It is so important that we put the energy into ourselves, because then we can be that ray of sunshine, that energy, that beautiful being for all the people around us. And so, yes, I do think it's important to think of yourself first. We are totally and completely 100% in charge of our own life. And so when you realize that you have all the power to create a beautiful life, then you don't ever want to give that power away ever again. I used to give my power away. I let other people decide. People would say rude comments to me and I would think that they were true. I would take them on, but they weren't. They were somebody else's thoughts or opinions or their own things that they're going through. And now I am very aware that I have the power and I take full responsibility for the life that I'm living. And I realized that when I started to boost up my confidence and feel really good with myself, my whole outer experience changed. I rarely bump into those people that have rude things to say, because my energy is attracting energy like mine. And so the days when I do attract that person that's rude to me, I have to look within. I have to say, was this a day where I was feeling crummy about something? Was I living as a past version of myself? What was the energy that I was putting out? Was I letting some outside circumstance affect how I feel? And the answer is always yes. I was worried about something. I was feeling bad about something. And then the universe showed it to me in the form of another person's energy. And yesterday I was watching, and this happens to me very often, but I can watch someone's story or watch a movie and someone can cry and they will be crying. And then guess what happens to me? I will cry too. Because I can feel so deeply what other people are feeling. And I used to think, I'm so sensitive, this is a bad thing. And what I've realized is that this is my superpower. If I can transmute energy that quickly to feel sad, then I can also transmute energy that quickly to feel good, to feel joy, to feel happiness, to feel abundant. So if you are someone who feels the energy of other people really easily and you thought it was a bad thing as well, just know that this is your superpower. So our emotions are showing us if we are in alignment. So when we feel good, that means that we are in alignment with source energy, with our inner being. And when we don't feel good, that is just our guidance system saying, oh, you veered off the path. So I like to share the example when you're driving. Does everybody drive here? You know, when you drive down the highway and there's those rumble strips on the side of the road? You're driving along, and all of a sudden you hit a rumble strip and it rumbles. And it's telling you, you veered off the path. Well, that rumble strip is like your emotions. As soon, if you're feeling happy, you wake up, you feel energized, you feel happy, you're feeling good, and then all of a sudden something happens and you feel crappy. Well, that is the rumble strip. And on the road, I know most of you, you get off the rumble strip. Are there any of you that like to ride the rumble strip? Because if you like to ride the rumble strip, then you're probably riding the rumble strip of your emotion, that negative emotion as well. So use your negative emotion as your guide to get back on track. Don't stay on the rumble strip. You know, I'm guilty of this too. I do it sometimes still, but it's less and less. And every day I get better and better and better. And that's all that I can hope for myself and for you. So when you feel crummy, you want to go and tell somebody else and you sit in that crummy energy and you want to write about it on Facebook that this is crummy. And then you stay in that crummy energy. And if we are here to have kick-ass confidence and to feel good and to have dreams and follow our dreams and follow our passions and create a life that we really love, which is filled with love and joy and satisfaction, then it starts with us. It starts with us making the decision that we're going to change, that we're going to pay attention to our emotions, and we're going to bring ourselves back to that joy. So you can slowly work your way up. So what I want to do right now is I want you guys to write a script about the person that you are becoming. So this is what I like to call our self-image script. So before I became really confident, before I stepped into this energy of feeling good most of the time, I wrote it on paper. I had to write it and decide that I was going to become it. And then I fully stepped into the energy of it. So let's write the script of the person you are becoming. And I wanted to tell you, some of you who already know me, you know that I love to use oracle cards and tarot cards. And so before I started this live, I shuffled the deck, and this is the card that came out. This card says death and rebirth. And I think how fitting for today. So if any of you have come here today to make a transformation, to totally step into your energy and become the person that you've always desired to be, this is the card saying it's about to happen. So the death card is not a bad card. This is a card that's all about you letting your old self die, those old thoughts die, that old program die, and you are going to be reborn. So if this resonates with you, then please take that as a sign that you are well on your way to creating this incredible new you. And tomorrow and the next day, I'm going to teach you some more about how to step into that energy and how to become that person, and then how to open your heart and your life to receiving everything that you desire. You are going to become an incredible magnet. You will be so magnetized to everything that you desire. People will want to gravitate towards you because you will be just flying high. As Abraham Hicks says, you'll be flying high on your high flying disc. And we're going to talk more about that tomorrow because energy is so, so crucial in increasing your confidence. So let me see what time it is now. We have a little bit of time left. So does anyone want to share one thing that they are writing in their self-image script, something they want to embody? So Cindy wants to retire and travel, plan travel now, list all the places I want to go, mostly nature. I feel worthy, just can't convince my husband to retire. So I need to start on my own. He will follow or not. My dreams are important. Oh, I love that, Cindy. Yes, I love that. And it is so important that we do what feels good for us. And if he sees you out in nature having all kinds of fun, he might say, hey, wait for me, right? So the questions I want you to ask yourself to write in this self-image script, I want you to ask, who is the person I'm becoming? Who is she? How does she feel? How does she speak to herself? How does she show up for herself? If you want to tell me in the chat, I want to embody the energy of the leader that I'd want to follow. Leader, coach. Okay, so what is that energy? What is that energy? Who do you want to follow? Who are you inspired by? What is it that inspires you about them? This is another cool exercise that I've done for myself as well, is I've taken a look at someone who I admire. What is their energy? How are they showing up? How are they speaking? And what is one thing that you can start doing now? Because you are that leader. You are that leader now. So writing a list of all of the qualities that you are as that leader, or you are as that person that you're stepping into. This is about becoming super conscious to what we desire and putting it into our mind. So remember, like I said with Dr. Joe Dispenza, repetition is going to be so important. So you're going to write this self-image script, and I want you to start to add lots of emotions into it. And I want you to write it in the present tense as if you are her now. And if it feels like a big jump from where you are now to what you desire, I want you to start writing down, what if I could be that top leader? What if I could be that multimillionaire? What if I could be that woman who travels with her husband? What if I could be a world famous photographer? What if I could be? Because this is all we need to get started, is to be curious and to question it. Because that already is shifting the energy from I don't know how to what if I can. Do you feel the difference in the energy from I'm not sure where to start, I don't know how, to what if I can be? And what I want you to do is I want you to pick something on that list right now. If you've jotted a few things down, I want you to circle one thing, and you're going to do it every single day. So if you wrote on that list, I'm a high level leader in my business. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day to meditate. I go for a walk every day. I show up as myself. I want you to pick one thing. So whether it's you wake up at 5 a.m., circle it. And I want you to do that every single day. Put a timer in your phone. Put multiple timers in your phone. Get an accountability partner. Write Post-it notes around your house. I wake up at 5 a.m. I'm an early riser. I'm energized when I wake up. Write them up, put them all over the house. When you open the cupboard to get a drink, it says, I'm an early riser. When you open the fridge, it says, I wake up at 5 a.m. I'm a high level leader. I'm an early riser. I'm ready to take on the day nice and early. Because when you take responsibility for yourself, your energy, your confidence, your life, you start to change the things around you. So you start to attract other early risers. You start to attract other high level leaders. You start to attract the courses that will teach you some of those tools to be a high level leader. Because energy is everything. You become a magnet for what you desire, but we have to step into that power. We have to do a little part, and the universe does a little part, and it comes together. So, who's feeling energized? Who's feeling excited about what's to come? Tell me in the chat. Me? Yay. Yay, yay, yay. You're ready. You're ready. Okay, so most people think that they will feel happier when something outside of them changes, but it all starts within. So if it feels weird to say, I'm so happy and I'm so energized and I'm so ready for this, then I want you to say, I am willing to try. I am willing to try. I am willing to try. And Cindy's right. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So step into that power, step into that energy of whatever it is that you want to attract. If you're a high level leader, what are you attracting? A high level team, people who are ready, people who are willing to do the work, people who are ready to crush it, who are passionate about whatever you're teaching. So when you're passionate, you attract the passionate people. When you focus on what you love, you attract people who also focus on what they love. When you love yourself, you attract people who also love themselves. And that is so important. That is so important to live a life that we feel so satisfied with. Is it all starts with us and feeling good about us. So if you are thinking in this moment, holy shit, where do I even start? Start here. I am willing to love myself. I am willing to love myself. And just remember that like attracts like. So it's like when you lose your keys. You cannot find your damn keys because you are looking for them. But when you stop looking, you go to reach for your lipstick in your purse and there's your keys. Right? So whatever it is that you want in this life, remember that if you're looking for it, if you need it, if you want it, it's not going to show up. That's repelling it. So step into the energy of being it. So you want to attract more love and more confidence, become that confidence, badass woman that you were meant to be, that we were all meant to be. Can I get some fire in the chat? Some hearts in the chat. Are you guys feeling this fire? Are you feeling excited? Do you feel the energy when you start to talk about what you're passionate about, when you start to love yourself? Do you feel the shift? Yes. So this is it. This is it. So when you wake up in the morning and you feel, oh, I don't want to do anything today, quickly notice that. Get up and dance. Get up and move your body. Get up and shake your body. Use the sage. Sweep your aura. Do whatever you have to do. Start thinking about the beach, the things you love, nature, the forest, whatever it is that you love, and get in that energy and start your day in that beautiful, confident, fiery energy. And watch, how your day completely changes from the day before. And I know this because I was this. I worked at a job for an entire year that I wasn't happy. And every day I woke up and I dreaded getting ready and going to work. And every day at work, I had people calling me and yelling at me, and people were not happy. And I took that on. And guess what I did? I blamed them. I blamed them. And now I can look back on that and I say, you know what? I wasn't feeling my best. I wasn't doing what I was passionate about. Now I know what I'm passionate about. Now I'm so grateful that I knew that it was time for me to leave that job. And now I recognize that my energy was bringing to me more of that energy. And it sucked, but I'm so grateful that I was able to recognize that. So our outside world shows us where we have room to grow. So if you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got. So if you're ready to make a change, I want you to type in the chat, I am ready. I am ready. And I know there's a few of you, few familiar faces on here, and I know you're doing the work and you're stepping into that power. And I just want to say, congratulations. You guys are killing it. You guys are incredible, all of you. And you're showing up for yourself, and you're here today because you're showing up for yourself and you're showing yourself what you deserve and what you love. And doing the work, it's not going to be easy, but it's simple. So don't overcomplicate it. I gave you a ton of information today, some of my story, and just remember this is 10 years. So today I'm going to give you homework, and that homework is simple. It's to write your self-image script. Write your script in the present tense. Who are you? Who is that highest version of you that you are stepping into? What does she do? How does she show up for herself? How does she love on herself? How does she provide for others? All of these things, write them all. Think about a person that you admire and the things you admire about them. Write that in there. That is you. After I manifested the sale of my property, I realized I can retire. Yes, Cindy, you are doing the work. Cindy had a desire to sell a piece of land that she owned, and she chose the number that she was going to sell the piece of property for, and she held firm in that vision. And her husband questioned her. So now we're getting to know a little bit of your husband, Cindy. He questioned her number, and she said, no, it's the number. I'm holding the vision. Please hold the vision with me. And she sold the property for that exact number. And that is how powerful we are. So congratulations, Cindy. You're a rock star. I so admire you. Thank you for being here. So guys, this is going to be a powerful 3 days. Thank you so much for showing up for yourselves. You're incredible. I want you to live in this energy for the rest of the day and share your self-image script with me in the Mindset for Miracles group. There's gonna be prizes, so make sure you tag me. So it'll be in Mindset for Miracles. Tag me at Jessica Whitney so I don't miss it. And I'm gonna be sending out little goodie bags to a bunch of you because I just love sharing and gifting you guys because you're showing up. I'm just so proud of you, so happy for you. So write the script, have fun with it. There's no right or wrong way to do it, okay? And have a beautiful, beautiful day. I love you all. Thank you again.